Welcome to the Twin Cities Film Fest. We are coming to you live from the Showplace Icon Theater in the West End. Tonight, I have with me the cast of Incompleteness. We are showing part 2. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Clarence Weathern. I'm in the show.
I'm Matt Bailey. I play Alex.
I'm Katie Willer. I play Kayla.
Please give us a brief description of your character.
So my character is his job is coding, but he's in his other life he's screenwriting on the side, and I'm making a movie with my brother's character, or the character who is my character's brother. He's not my brother, and then but I fall in love with Katie's character, who is works in a coffee shop. And that's sort of the premise.
Alex is a bit of a narcissist and has some health troubles, so he's making a documentary for his unborn son, and drama ensues.
Kayla is indeed a barista and also an aspiring musician, so kind of like every artist's dream, and somehow gets embroiled with, well, Clarence.
Katie Willer, she is beguiling. She really is in real life. How in the world does your character somehow fall in love with Clarence's character?
I'm not entirely certain. I'd love if that scene was written for me. But I think it's primarily because she kind of is into weirdos, and he says things in the right way, and she really kind of clicks with anybody who's a little bit like off the beaten path.
And I know why you fall in love with Katie Willer's character. Oh my goodness. What I need to know, though, is how in the world did you say all those things that David Ash wrote for your character?
Yeah, a lot of sort of arcane babble, techno-babble sort of stuff. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, it all has meaning. It's just, you're used to running lines. It's just there's kind of a lot of heady concepts and a lot of talking about philosophical, ontological sort of stuff in there, but a lot of it is there's a lot of humor that's through the whole thing that sort of tempers that and keeps it from feeling too, I don't know, now I'm going to talk about this, you know what I mean? So I think the dialogue is really keenly observed and really well written, and it was a lot of fun to do.
And it was a lot of dialogue. Matt, your character talks to your son, your unborn son, a lot. Who were you imagining when you were looking into your computer screen?
Well, luckily I have a little 8-year-old redhead of my own, so imagining having a son that you care much about is, pretty easy for me to do. But it can be hard to sort of conjure that when you're just looking at a computer screen. So it was trusting in Dave's dialogue and trusting that this guy, this is all he has. This might be his only relationship with his kid, is this dialogue he's basically having with himself. So to really dig in, it was a lot of fun moments to play.
And your character also is on the verge of death, basically. Did you do a lot of research into that? Or, because they didn't mention it a whole lot, other than when you said something that bothered someone, and then they would remind you, oh yeah, he's gonna die.
Did I do a lot of research? No, because I think the important thing that he takes away from it is that the clock is ticking, and it's ticking fast. And so what's important becomes front and center. He quits his job, spoiler, and he devotes the rest of his life to following his dream, and which makes him even more of sort of a narcissist and selfish, but he really wants to, get this thing done for his son and get it done for his family, and it just only brings more problems.
So I watched 4.5 hours of Incompleteness, and I would like to know how long it took to film this.
Well, part of it was sort of piecemeal because we started and we did the first chunk of episodes before the pandemic, and then took kind of a break, and then came together and shot when we could later. And we sort of did one big batch of episodes as sort of a season, and then we did another batch of episodes maybe 2 years later, sort of around our schedules. But we didn't have a ton. I wouldn't say it was a ton of shooting days. We could knock out a scene or two in a day, but that might be a day here, and then 2 months later another day, and then 2 months later another day, or then we're like have 4 days crammed into 1 month, and then not meet for 9 months. So yeah, both a lot of time and not a lot of time, if that makes sense.
It does. Also, what in the world is it like working for David Ash?
Oh, me. Actually, it's awesome. It's really great because he's one of the most complimentary people in the world. And if he likes what you're doing, suddenly you have a 3-page monologue in front of you that you have to memorize in a couple of weeks. Not a real example, but it's you kind of never really know what's coming. I didn't know what a lot of the other stories were at all, and so it's amazing to watch all of these stories kind of weave together and see how smart he is. So.
Super smart. And what's next for each of you?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Just the red carpet at the Twin Cities Film Fest.
I'm writing a few things actually that I can't talk about yet, but exciting things coming up next year.
I'm in grad school to become a therapist, so completely 180, I think. Well, yeah. I mean, after this, it's real close, I think.
Well, all their performances were absolutely stunning. So I cannot wait for people to see this movie. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back with David Ash.